Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Feeding Fatty. I'm Roy.
I'm Terry.
So we are the podcast that we are chronicling our journey through wellness. That encompasses a lot of things, different things from day to day. But,
Yes.
as well as we want to talk about things going on in our life, as well as have professionals on from time to time. And we've had a lot of great interviews in the past, and we have got a lot more great ones that we have already got taped, and then we've also got probably a couple fistful of people that are out there waiting to get a recording date. So yeah, we're very excited about that. Thanks for our listeners and to all of our guests that come on. Y'all are the ones that really make this great. But so today, I think we want to talk a little bit about wellness. It was kind of the six dimensions of wellness. It was kind of a long journey about how we got to this subject that I won't go into the whole thing, but we were on another podcast I was listening to. Something came up uh, about loneliness and how detrimental to our health it can be. And so, we started looking at these six dimensions of, their interdependence, I guess, is another way to look at it, to achieve wellness.
Yeah. And let's define what wellness is. I
Okay.
mean, it's the practice of building a holistic sense of fulfillment in your health, in all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and this particular model, I mean, we want to be sure and give credit where credit is due, because while we would love to say that, we penciled this out last night on a cocktail napkin, that's not the way that happened. This was developed by Dr. Bill Hetler. He is a co-founder of the National Wellness Institute, and they developed this, and it's been around, I think, it looks like since about the mid 70s. So it's nothing new, but it is kind of interesting, when we think about the different components. And I mean, just the other thing I think we need to say too is that there wasn't a model that had 8 dimensions in it. I think you found one that had
it was
7.
like 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. There was one that had 9.
9. So yeah, and I guess we decided to go with this since this is a reputable institution with, some, I guess, people that do research and things like that. Yeah, and they've been around for quite some time. So, but anyway, we'll just talk about these 6 are physical, intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual, and vocational or occupational, depending on where you read it. A couple others that were left off were the on the 8 model were financial and environmental. So we may just hit on those. They're not going to be as big since we don't have a lot of research on those. But I think it's important because really you have to be hitting on all of these. And somebody that like me that probably eats emotionally, if I get kind of out of whack on any of these, it probably would make me want to eat or be bored enough to eat. So I think that we have to think about our wellness not just in our diet or our weight or our exercise, but this all 6 of these dimensions.
Yeah, and everything works together so you can balance yourself and just be more complete.
Right.
And I think would be remiss also, I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that Global Wellness Day is June 12th, 2021. So I'm excited about that. We're going to have to celebrate. We're going to have to go out and eat a big meal with chocolate cake and wine.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, let's just start with the occupational. That's the one that they've got at the top of their list. But basically what this is just saying is that, we need to have satisfaction and enrichment through our life's work. And, on our business podcast, we talk about that quite frequently, especially if you're an entrepreneur, is that you really need to find something you like, because you have to put a lot of time and a lot of energy into it. And, there's nothing worse than getting up in the morning and just feeling like you have to take a beating if you go to a place of employment, or even if it's your own business.
Yeah,
so
you need to look forward. You need to look forward to everything, but especially work. If that's, something that you spend a long time, building relationships there, honing your craft, all of that. You need to find some satisfaction in that.
Yeah, because we will typically spend, half of our waking hours there, and most of us spend a lot more than that. We're fortunate enough to do a lot of our stuff together, so it's not like, we're being neglectful. So that's a positive. But, you really need to find, if you could find, the podcast I'm working on for the business this week just happens to be the uh, uh, profit with a purpose. And so that's one thing that he's talking about is not only finding something that you like, but you can also have social impacts as well. And one was, a lawyer that did some housing law that, she would actually take on some cases for free, I think, to, um, help people that were going through hard times and trying to be evicted. So, there's a lot of things that we can do to earn a living, but yet we can also have some runoff to that social impact. So I think that's very important.
Yeah. And I guess we'll cover social in a minute.
Yeah.
But the next one is the physical dimension,
Yeah.
the need for regular physical activity. And physical development encourages learning about diet and nutrition, while discouraging smoking and alcohol and drug use.
Yeah.
Um,
And, when we talk, this is physical, all encompassing, but, when we talk about exercise, that, uh, I'm of the belief that our weight can be controlled, probably 75, 80% through our diet.
Yeah.
We don't, the exercise has very little impact on that weight loss, but all the other physical benefits that we get from that, the endorphins that it releases, just keeping your joints and everything limber. Because I know when I sat in a chair too long, I know I start getting, very tight and
yes.
just harder to, stretch to get up. And part of that's just from, not getting up frequently enough to take a walk. So I really feel like, and that's something that, unfortunately, it started raining today, but that's something that, I think we are going to start working on more this week. Is just, we used to be fairly good about getting out and taking those 15-minute walks, and I think we're going to try really hard to get back into that again.
Yeah, I've just been finding it. Well, it's just been hard for me to find the motivation to do it. I'm just been so tired, and so I don't know. I don't know where you find that motivation. Help me.
Yeah.
Help me, Roy.
I don't either. I think, and it's, I think we've had a lot of stressors the last month or so, and we've been really busy and staying up too late and not doing, again, this just gets back to the, some of the other things that we talked to, the sleep, it's very important for us. And, then it makes you tired where you don't want to, get out and go do that walk. So,
yeah. And if like this week has been a beating on me as far as sleep, just because, I've been waking up early in the morning and then staying up and just starting to get lost in my phone. And then next thing I know, it's 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
And then that just sets the tone for the rest of my day. So I have not been very fruitful.
Yeah. Well, we can get back into that. I think it'll be good. It'll be good. I think it'll help your sleep as well.
I think so.
So the next one is the emotional, and this is just talking about the awareness and acceptance of your feelings. And we've touched on that before, that you can't block off bad feelings. And we've got a guest coming up on, I think she's coming up on Feeding Fatty. We haven't taped her yet, but I've talked to her a little bit. And when we had a conversation the other day, that's one thing that she said, is that we can't block those feelings or these thoughts from coming in. And so what she just was recommending is that you just acknowledge it, and basically you say, thanks for reminding me, brain. And because she just said, if you don't, it will just be a constant reminder, and just that nagging, where if we just accept it, sometimes even sit with it for just a minute, then, we can deal with that.
Yeah. And emotions are just so tricky. If you don't deal with them, have a tendency to creep back up, and then
Yeah.
you stuff them down, and then you don't know what to do with those emotions,
Right.
or how to deal with them, you know?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and there's things that we can do. I don't want to belabor it too long because, sometimes we can control those and sometimes we can't. But if you're in a bad situation, look for ways to change that to where you can gain that happiness back. Sometimes there are things we can do, and unfortunately, there are times where we just can't. But
No, and finding your gratitude, just giving yourself grace, and being kind to yourself.
yeah,
Those are huge. It just sounds so simple
yeah,
when I say it out loud, but really you have to practice all of that.
yeah. And I think we released an episode last week about our uh, meditation
Meditation,
journey,
yeah.
and then a couple weeks ago on the Reiki. I can't ever
Reiki.
say that, Reiki. So, but I think this meditation, it's been good, and I've been really staying on top of my journaling. And it's not, for me, the journaling's not bad. I mean, I don't really, my life is pretty good. So I don't have a lot of negative stuff to journal, but it's still just good, just writing the thoughts down and just keeping up with it. So, again, it's a couple of different things that be, uh, might suggest that, give it a try.
And you don't have to write the best novel. That's
Yeah,
sometimes what I do is when I sit down, journal.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, I got to write a whole
yeah,
novel and it has to be perfect. No,
yeah.
you can just do some bullet points and get on with it.
Yeah, and that it's the same thing with the meditation. I think
Mhm.
people are like, "Oh, I can't. My mind is not still. I can't stop." But you don't have to. You don't have to be perfect at it every time. They're just like myself. There are days I'm better than others. Sometimes my mind is running all over the place, but it lets me realize that my mind is running all over the place to try to take a step back and take those deep breaths. So, um, anyway,
Yeah.
so
The next one we're going to go to is the spiritual dimension, and it recognizes your search for meaning and purpose in
oh,
your existence. Um, that is hard. That's hard to find. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and that kind of gets back to our meditation,
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
it's a good
It
time
all
to
ties
talk
in.
to, you know, to your higher power. I don't want to, say
Yeah.
everybody may not believe in, that God is that person, but whoever they feel like, because it doesn't matter. It's whoever you feel like is your higher power. It's a great time just to take a few minutes to say thank you. Thank you for all these good things that have happened, to practice that gratitude. And then,
And it opens you up to receiving, more positive vibes, and it just all around. I mean,
right.
it does. Like I said, it sounds so simple when you say it out loud, but it really is true. It just, practice what you preach.
Yeah. And you just got to take the time, make yourself do it, and just sit down. And like I said, some days are going to be better than others, but
And whatever works for you is what works for you.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be a certain way. And if you need, Google, if you need to have um, lo- some way to help you search
yeah,
in your spiritual guidance and all of that, um, in your spiritual dimension of wellness.
yeah. So the next one is social. And this is just talks about contributing to one's environment and community, the interdependence between others and nature. So I think it looks like it's fairly all encompassing, that, we are social beings. And this is kind of what led us to this, is, in the other podcast I was listening to this morning, where the guy talked about that actually being isolated, it can have the same effect on us as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And I saw somewhere else they actually said 15 cigarettes a day. So I guess that's, I don't know, like almost a whole pack or
Almost a
something.
whole, yeah.
So anyway, it is real, and we are social beings, and I think we can, you know, um, it's getting a little easier to do that face to face now, but still, if you're concerned about that, I think for me, Zoom is pretty good because, or that FaceTime, whatever, because you still get to see the person. You get to have some social interaction. And I know that you and your ladies group that y'all have been doing y'all do a call.
We're
Y'all
doing
did a
house
call,
party stuff. We
which,
do that. We try to do that once a week, and sometimes it drags out for a couple weeks. But we're actually going to go have lunch. We've had a couple of outings now that the masks are down and everybody's vaccinated.
yeah,
So it's nice to be able to have the physical presence,
right.
and to hug or bump fist or whatever it is that you choose to do, um, is a nice thing.
Yeah.
Also, volunteering, you can do that. You can do that in a number of ways, but that can help with the social aspect. I mean, you kill two birds with one stone,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many people out there that
that
need it. Yeah.
they need it, and you need to give it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just makes you feel so good, and just helping other people
Yeah.
helps yourself. It's like the 12, it's like, I don't want to liken it to this 12-step program, but it kind of is, in that, you just, it just helps your well-being.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I lost it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good to give, it makes you feel good for giving back, but it's also that social stimulation. And unfortunately, when we all get older and, we're going to wish we had that. So anyway, well, the last one is the intellectual, and it just talks about the, recognizing your stimulating mental activities and, how you expand your knowledge. And so that's another thing, is we should always be learning. I think it helps to keep the brain young. And while we didn't pull it for today, there's a lot of research out there that, if you do these, even if it's something as simple as doing a crossword puzzle to keep your mind active, you can help ward off, a lot of dementia for a while. There's some you can, some you can't, but it does give you a fighting chance anyway.
Yeah, crossword puzzles, Sudoku, learning a new language, learning anything.
Learning an instrument. We had
yes.
We had Patrick on not long ago talking about how the especially older people have been really reaching out, trying to learn an instrument. So
and it's good for brain health. I mean,
it's never too late. And music always kind of soothes you anyway. Whenever you're maybe a little down, play a little music or put the radio on. So that's always a good thing.
Brings back good memories. Yep. It's nice to go down memory lane.
Yep. All right. Well, unless you have anything else, those are pretty much covered the 6 dimensions. Again, they are, let me get back up here. They are emotional, occupational, physical, social, intellectual, and spiritual. And we have to, have a good balance and try to be in a good place in all of those things. I just challenge everybody to go over to the National Wellness Institute, and there's a lot of literature on it. And there's other literature, just Google it, but go over and take a look at it and see if it can help you in your wellness.
And happy Global Wellness Day, June 12th.
Yep. That's right.
Yay. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to decorate.
Okay.
I'm going to come up with something.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Feeding Fatty. And again, if there's a topic that's on your mind that you feel like you'd really like us to either talk about or find a guest, please reach out either by email or social media. Let us know. We'd be glad to cover, some things that the listeners want to hear.
Yep. That'd be great.
That's going to do it. You can find us, of course, at www.feedingfatty.com. We are also on all the major podcast platforms, all the major social media networks, and we got a new logo. We didn't even talk about that. We got a new logo that should be coming out. I put it up on the podcast cover this week. probably take me a few days or a little longer to get it put out on all social media, but we'll eventually get it changed out. So be interested to see what you think. Terry pretty much designed that one. It's just
Oh,
a white background with more pencil looking lines in it. It's kind of based off of the old Alfred
yep.
Hitchcock. Beginning of his show, he had a little drawing of a man, and so that's kind of what this looks
It's
like.
kind of
But
his profile.
yeah, anyway, so yeah, give us some feedback on that if you like this one, and see what you think. We'd be glad to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of your families.